So today we are going to talk about human psychology leading to full human potential. So the content of the lecture is basically the input from the course on human psychology, which is one of the courses in the minor degree. And the objective of developing this course is to provide a human perspective, a holistic perspective to psychology. So in this course, the students are going to learn about the developments in history regarding psychology, uh, in the tradition as well as in the modern era. And uh, it's a full-fledged course. And the students go through all the inputs. And with the understanding of value inputs that the students have from the foundational course and some of the elective courses, the students are able to comprehend the holistic perspective of psychology. So we are all acquainted with minor degree in human values. Now, if you look at the foundational courses, so in the first year, we have the introductory component in the introduction program. Then in the second year, we have the mandatory course, UHV-II, Universal Human Values, Understanding Harmony and Ethical Human Conduct. And then the higher level courses either form electives or they are a part of the minor degree. So UHV-III is Understanding Human Being Nature and Existence Comprehensively. And many of us might have attended UHV-III workshop last year. Then UHV-IV is Vision for Humane Society. So we have already developed the course material for UHV-I, UHV-II, and UHV-III. For UHV-II and 3, formal textbooks are provided. And for UHV-I, we have the course inputs as well as handouts. For UHV-IV, the book is almost ready and the workshops are also being conducted. Recently, one workshop on UHV-IV was conducted at SRM. Then UHV-V is Human Values in Various Philosophies, in which we have 3 courses in the basket. One is Human Values in Bauddha and Jain Darshan. Then Human Values in Vedic Darshan, where we primarily talk about Sankhya, Yoga, and Vedanta Darshan. And then Human Values in Madhyas Darshan. So we already have the textbook in Hindi for Human Values in Madhyas Darshan, and we are in the process of developing a book for Bauddha and Jain Darshan as well as Vedic Darshan. Then the talk that we have today is about human psychology, and this is UHV-VI. Recently, we conducted half of the workshop at SRM. So we have proposed some syllabus for human psychology, which is already there in the holistic value-based education booklet that you might have seen. And we had developed the course content. But while conducting the workshop, it appeared to us more vividly how the participants are going to grasp the content. So it is under development, I'll say. Some initial draft has been made and the PPTs are being made on that basis. And as we go along, we are getting further insight into the course. In fact, we conducted this workshop from July 11 to 15 at SRM, and after coming from there, we got some further inputs. So we have added that input also in the session today. Now, UHV-VII has 2 courses in the basket, Holistic Human Health and Human Sociology. So we have already developed a book on human health, holistic human health, and a workshop has also been conducted at SRM. For human sociology, we are in the process of developing the course material. So once we have done with the human psychology part, we will be conducting workshop for human sociology, and then we'll go for human economics also. And we are planning that by the end of next year, we'll be in a position to finalize the course inputs in all these courses. Since many of the institutions have also started implementing minor degree, so it has also become a need of the hour. And as we have also proposed to AICTE that at least 25% of institutions should be offering minor degree in human values. So this is necessary also. Now, in this talk, basically, we are going to cover almost half the course. Okay. Now, if you look at the course structure, it has 28 lectures and 14 practice sessions. So, of course, we can see that 42 hours are there. We are not going to have the practice sessions here. So, it makes 28 hours, let's say, and half of that would be 14 hours. So, we are going to discuss all that content within 1 hour or so, maybe 1.5 hours. So, it may appear to you like somewhat fast as we go along. So the purpose of this talk is not essentially to open up all the topics and discuss in detail each and every facet of it. Rather, the purpose is to give you an overview and the line of approach that we have to take. So since many of us have attended UHV-II, UHV-III and UHV-IV workshops, we have the basic clarity. We have the introductory input, we have the understanding of the self, and we also have understanding of society, how a human society can be envisioned. Now, with that at the base, we can now get exposed to all the development that have taken place in the tradition in East and West and also in the modern era, and make the right placement for them, evaluating them rightly. So with that comprehensive understanding and a holistic approach, our approach would be to place them properly rather than finding the lacunae with different theories. We can see where they fit in, how they fit in, what are their limitations. And if something has been said wrongly, then fine, we'll not go by that. We can evaluate it. But this is something that I leave to you. We are going to share the content. So on one hand, we have to be firm about our understanding, okay? But on the other hand, when we are sharing the input with someone, we have to let the other explore. So this is the approach that we are going to take in all these courses, be it sociology or psychology or economics or any other course that we come to develop in the future. So with the holistic perspective, we can place all the work that has been done in the history, in the tradition, in the modern era, and place them properly. So the purpose would be to give a holistic perspective to all the courses. And this is just an effort towards holistic value-based education because humanities courses are being taught today also. And it may appear to us that somewhat they might be fragmented or they might not be able to develop the human being to the full potential. So how we can complement, that is our approach. Now, if you look at psychology, it is study of the human psyche, and psyche essentially comes from Greek language, and that means soul. So there is some reality which has been accepted across ages, across various civilizations, which we sometimes term as soul or mind or self, okay, something, okay. And logos means to study the soul, to study the self, to study some entity which appears different from the body. So there have been different approaches, and the different approaches form different schools. So we'll have a look at those schools. So essentially, they are trying to study the mental processes and how they manifest in our living. So the purpose of the course is to explore the basic concepts of psychology with emphasis on developing clarity about full human potential. So now that we are exposed to the basic inputs, we are acquainted with the full human potential, and then we can gradually go about exploring the possibility of achieving the full human potential through different schools of psychology. Then to study the work done in psychology so far, and also to identify the steps for going from where we are today towards realizing our full human potential. So the basic aim is to reach the state of realization, to see the whole existence as it is, to see the whole nature as it is, to see the relationship as it is, isn't it? So that will initiate or strengthen also the process of self-exploration in us, that will make us more aware and also let us make effort for realizing our full human potential. So the scope of the study would be human psyche, call it mind or consciousness or soul, as called by different thinkers and philosophers. So we'll try to study the human psyche, and then the determinant of conduct of human being, how my conduct is determined, on what basis. Then the full human potential, that is the full potential of the human psyche. So the goal is to develop myself, okay, so that all my activities get awakened. I'm able to see the truth. I'm able to see the reality as it is. That is the full potential. So we have some proposal about it, but we'll go about also exploring the possibility of achieving the full potential through various schools of psychology. Some prominent problems associated with an undeveloped human psyche, generally called in psychology as abnormalities. So we can see various abnormalities in human conduct. Okay. And then process of developing the human psyche. So how to develop the psyche? It could be the process of seeing, exploring, understanding, resolving the problems, or some other methods also, right? Having a dialogue with maybe a therapist, maybe a psychiatrist, or expressing oneself fully. Various methods could be there, and we can see what methods have been proposed by different schools of psychology. Then finally, expression or proof of a developed human psyche. So when I am there as a complete human being with completeness of understanding in me, then what will be my state? And are we able to get some proposal about this fully developed human being from any school of psychology that we have to see? Okay. So let us keep it open, completely open as an explorer and keep on observing this so that we can get an idea of the definite conduct of a human being from different angles. So we'll explore these 6 points in some of the philosophies and popular schools of thought. It may appear to you that some more schools have been there, some more thoughts have been there, and you'll see that there are various offshoots. Some psychologists might propose something, and then some people start working on those lines and then come up with some new ideas, new mechanisms, new theories, new perspectives. That is quite possible. So it's not our goal here to bring everything on this platform and let you have a look at it. So we'll talk about the major perspectives and the schools of psychology that will initiate the process of exploration in you. Now, going by the understanding that we have today, we can see that human being is coexistence of self and body. Self is consciousness, body is material. And within the self, we can see that there are activities, consciousness activities, which can be seen as 10 activities. And we have classified them into block B1 and block B2. So block B2 is the block of imagination and block B1 is the block of right understanding. So we are very much aware that we start developing from where we are. And presently we might be active only in B2 and we have to awaken to the higher level activities. Sanskar is the deeply held acceptances. Acceptances may be based on right understanding or they may be without understanding. Now, what is the determinant of conduct of human being? So going by the exploration that we had so far, we have been trying to respond to all these questions. And then as we go along, we'll keep all these questions open for other schools of psychology. So sanskar, that is the deep acceptances, drive our feeling. The feeling drives our thoughts. The thoughts drive our action. That is our behavior, work, or participation. Now you'll see people have tried to investigate into the action or thought or feeling or sanskar using their various terminologies. Jargons could be there. You'll see that there are various jargons in different schools of psychology. For example, when Freud talks about human psychology, he uses the word id, ego, and superego. Now this may appear completely as a different term, but if you have the clarity of the determinants, then you can be able to relate all these words to what is happening inside the human being, inside the self. Okay, so different psychologists, different philosophers, different approaches have given different, I'll say, a vocabulary that fits in their own approach. But we have to be aware, we have to look into the meaning of what is being said and then relate it to the existence. Then the full human potential, if you see, that is the state of swatantrata or liberation. So that is completeness of right understanding, that is awakening of contemplation, understanding, and realization in the self, which purifies the sanskar and develops the all-encompassing resolution so that we have definite human conduct in our living. Now, when it is not there, then what could be the problems? Okay. So, like one proposal that we got was a person lacking right understanding will be wretched, okay, will be not having the feeling of prosperity, happiness. So, he will either look for cunningness or cruelty to fulfill one's needs. So that could be one formulation of looking at things. Now, a similar kind of formulation has been developed by different psychologists across the world, across the ages. So, like what are the labels given to different kinds of inhuman conduct that we can look at? And then the process of developing the human psyche. So what we are proposing here is that there are three things to be done: self-exploration, self-awareness, and self-evaluation. Primarily focused at seeing the reality as it is directly, and it helps us purify the sanskar. So those of us who are doing the morning sessions are acquainted with exercises 1 and 2. We can develop some more exercises and we are in the process of developing that. So on one hand, we are developing various courses in human values. On the other hand, we are developing various practice sessions. And one common concern that has been expressed on various platforms is to make it more practical. And we can see uh, the scope for making it practical with their limitations. So this kind of input where we are able to get the theory, get the proposal with sharpness, with clarity of meaning of every word and phrase. That is very essential. Now, so that it does not get limited to our thought, but comes to our living, we also need the practice sessions. So on one hand, we are having the clarity of proposal, okay, so that there is no dilemma, no contradiction, no confusion in our thoughts. At the same time, we are trying to bring this into our living through practice sessions. So exercise 1 is observing the self, that is the consciousness by the consciousness. Exercise 2 is observing the material by the consciousness. Similarly, we have the exercise 3, which is observing the space, that is coexistence by the consciousness. And then we can have exercise 4 over behavior, exercise over work, and so on, going up to undivided society and universal human order. And these exercises will help us to develop our full potential and ensure the definiteness of human conduct at every level of living. So this is something that has come as a proposal to us. We are already in this process. Those of us who have not been attending the morning sessions, it would be my humble request that they need to go through the morning sessions, whatever be your constraints, try to utilize the technology and the gadgets to the extent possible so that you are able to be a part of the morning sessions. Then expression of proof of developed human psyche. So how does definite human conduct lead to the fulfillment of the human goal? That is right understanding and right feeling, leading to happiness in every individual. And then prosperity in every family, fearlessness in society, and persistence in nature. So that would be the expression of the developed human psyche. So that it goes up to undivided society and universal human order, and finally leading to human tradition. Now you'll see that on one hand, people are also fearing some calamity, some collapse of this civilization, looking at whatever is happening around. So many wars being fought, so much of inhuman conduct which has never been heard in the past, coming to our knowledge, coming to our information now. But the kind of effort that we are putting in, right? That we are talking about a human tradition. We are talking about a tradition of continuous happiness and prosperity on this planet. And at a personal level, I see that I can see this very much possible. Only that we have to make it more effective. And this minor degree is an effort to make the course more effective. For that, of course, we have to develop the teaching material, the teaching pedagogy, the exercises, and the whole ecosystem. We'll have to work on the ecosystem finally, okay? Because unless we work on the ecosystem within the institution, the classroom inputs will not have an everlasting effect. So that we have to work for sure. And I am hopeful that many of us are working in that direction. Many of the colleges are being nodal centers for that purpose. So the outcomes would be that the students get introduced to the human psychology and efforts made to understand human psychology. They are able to understand the self, that is the consciousness, and the role of sanskar in the conduct of the self. They are able to understand the psychology of human being when it is guided by right understanding. Also, they get introduced to various theories in psychology in the tradition as well as the modern era, and they are able to make an appraisal of the concepts proposed in psychology and see the way forward towards one's full human potential. So having said this, now let me put up a question to you. So if any query, any doubt, any confusion, anything that you would like to ask, then please do raise your hand and share. Ji, some hands are raised, I can see. Chandrasekhar Bogle ji.
नमस्ते भाई, नमस्ते भैया।
Namaste.
प्रीवियस स्लाइड फिफ्थ पॉइंट भैया, एक्सरसाइज 1 to exercise 2 or exercise 7, are there exercise actually I want to 7 bhai?
Yes, Bhaiya. We have to develop our potential. Okay. The more we
Yeah.
develop, we get more exposed to all these exercises. Yes. We are
Oh,
still in the process of developing them. So we are practicing them at a personal level. And then
yes.
once certified that yes, this works, then we are bringing it to the education system. News I'll
Yeah.
share is that now AICT has approved that we can now share the link for the morning sessions to all the colleges across the country. It will go as
Wow,
a
very nice
common
bhai.
mail from AICT. So I think this is
Yeah,
something
yeah.
very great. Yes.
Okay bhai, okay.
Nice, nice, Bhaiya.
Thank you bhai.
Aarti Didi.
Namaste, Bhaiya.
Namaste.
I feel great to see that a course on psychology has come up so nicely. I feel fortunate. My daughter has done masters in clinical psychology, and she is trying to experience at with different types of people around. For example, she is also working with some special children, and she's also teaching psychology course. I would like to know, like, this formal course which has been designed by the UGC for the psychologists to learn, how this course will be different, and will this course, learning this course will be more beneficial to the students?
So there is something that you
Probably.
have to explore and let me know.
Yes, Bhaiya. Yes, Bhaiya.
This is something that you have to explore and let me know. How is it going to be more beneficial? So maybe I'll request your daughter to attend workshops first, the
Mm-hmm.
introductory and then the UHV-III, and then she can
Mm.
go through this course on psychology.
Right.
See how it is beneficial.
Yeah, that
Our
can be
effort is
done.
towards developing a holistic perspective.
Right.
Yeah. Placing all the
Okay.
efforts done in the history and enabling the human being to reach one's potential to the fullest.
Ji bhaiya. And the psychologist himself also will reach to that highest potential. And of course, he'll be able to handhold so many others who will be in consultation with him.
Yes,
Right,
Didi.
bhaiya?
Yes. So a
Yes.
psychologist is also a co-explorer now.
Yes. Yes, yes, certainly.
The therapist also has to explore.
Right. And they also need counseling several times because
And
they
we are
come
all
across.
in that process. See, when you are
Yeah.
conducting a workshop, you are also as a therapist to the child, isn't it?
Right.
Nice, Didi.
Yes, bhaiya. Thank you so much.
Any other question? Ji. Yeah, Geeta Didi.
Bhaiya, namaste, Bhaiya.
Namaste.
Bhaiya, with my understanding, mm, I think UHV itself is sufficient for the process of realization. So why do we need a separate subject called psychology, Bhaiya? Because I think this itself is sufficient because I have not studied psychology, but whatever we are studying as self, as sanskar, how to purify sanskars, are psychology. So I was little bit confused, Bhaiya.
Ji. So this is primarily to facilitate the human being. Let us say that a single word, coexistence, is enough to suggest the meaning of the whole existence, right? But the single
Ji.
word is not able to enable us to realize coexistence. So we elaborate
Mm,
further. We say that
mm,
observe the relationship, observe harmony, and then you are able to realize the coexistence.
mm,
Since we are not competent enough to just look at the existence as it is by getting a single word, so we have to go for a line, then we have to go for a paragraph, then we have to go for a course. In a similar manner, these courses will help the human being and the humanity at large to see the reality. Because it may be the case that humanity has not been able to develop itself to an extent that a simple indication of reality is enough. This is one thing. So this is a
mm,
facilitation.
mm,
All these courses are a facilitation. Second thing, across the ages, people have made sincere effort to understand the reality and share it. And we need to accept the excellence part of it and place it properly.
mm,
Whatever has been done in terms of excellence in the tradition, we need to place it properly. So this has been done
mm,
in, we'll say, the spiritual lineages. This has been done in academics. This has been done in science, in philosophy, okay, in various streams. So to generate a holistic perspective, we need to go through all these and then place them properly, okay, so
mm,
that the courses that are being taught presently become holistic. They do not remain fragmented. This is second thing.
mm,
And thirdly, you see that in our process of exploration, when we look at the reality from different angles, that also helps us explore further. So maybe, for example, we are using the word self and body. Now,
mm,
listening to the same two words again and again, you may appear you may assume that, yes, I know this reality. I know what is self, what is body, they are different. That is fine. Okay. But this is something that you have concluded at the level of thought. You have not been able to see by yourself. So if the same reality is suggested by different means and ways, then it may further draw your attention to the reality. Okay.
Ji.
Fine, Didi.
Bhaiya, but psychology, as far as I am thinking, Bhaiya, it is concerned with treating some of the abnormalities in human being. It is not going beyond that. So that was my concern, Bhaiya.
Yeah, so that's what. See, when you look at psychology, no, we generally observe psychology as study of the abnormalities.
Mental health issues.
Yeah, so the study of abnormalities. And let me say that now people in the West also are able to see the limitation of it. So after 1950, they started talking about something more than that. How to give a humanistic approach to it. And we'll be glad to hear that now a new stream has come up that is called as positive psychology. So it's not only about curing of diseases, they are trying to talk about the well-being of human being, the wellness of human being, okay, a fulfilling life. So they are trying to develop various theories and concepts for that. But now that we have this proposal and we are still keeping it open, that we are getting through UHV, maybe we are able to complement them. So that would be a big help to all those who are making sincere effort towards making a human tradition of happiness on this planet.
In that case, it will be fine, Bhaiya.
Pardon?
Yes, Bhaiya. In that case, that will be fine, Bhaiya.
Yeah,
Because
this is one part.
psychology.
The second part is, this is something that I'm talking about the modern era. Okay. Earlier, it was only the study of the abnormalities. Then they start drawing their attention to a humanistic approach where they can talk about happiness, a fulfilling life, the wellness of a human being. They can talk about relationships. The second thing is that in our tradition, there have been various philosophies. Okay. So the Vedic philosophy, the Jain, Bauddha philosophy, right? And then in various parts of the world, various philosophies also came up. And they have already been talking about the full human potential. And they have been suggesting some methods to reach to your full potential. Now, we also need to place them properly in education because they have also got somewhat alienated from education. So on one hand, what we are teaching in the classroom is having a fragmented approach. So presently, if you look at the syllabus that is prescribed in the schools, they are mostly talking about the abnormalities in human conduct or the conduct of a human. It is not, so it is becoming fragmented and we need to complement it to make it holistic. On the other hand, something which already has been talking about the full human potential has gone out of syllabus. You do not have the formal curriculum which can include all that. So that is also something to be done. So I'll say that there's a lot of work to do, only that we have to gear up.
Ji. Thank you. Thank you so much, Bhaiya.
Shashi Binani ji.
Namaste, Bhaiya.
Namaste.
I think you answered partially my question. Actually, my question is, I'm not a psychological, the psychology background like Gita Didi asked. So since you said various approaches to handle this, but again, there's a slight doubt. What will be the challenges if a non-psychology background person handling this kind of a topic? Will there be challenges, or what can be the probable challenges?
See, one underlying approach is to present the holistic perspective. And then everyone starts evaluating one's own perspective in that light of the holistic perspective.
Okay.
So if you present the full human potential to a person, okay, and the other person is having, let's say, a fragmented approach towards human being or the society or relationship, then the other is able to evaluate oneself and place it properly in terms of the holistic approach.
Okay.
And that is quite possible. And if we have the feeling of relationship towards all, so people are able to feel related to you and also value your effort and your approach and take guidance from that.
Yeah.
जी नाइस दीदी, गीता दीदी,
Thank you, Bhaiya. Thank you.
नाइस दीदी.
Namaste, Bhaiya. Bhaiya, actually, when we were last year doing the SDG panel discussion, a very nice framework was developed. How UHV principles will lead to the fulfillment of SDG goals. So, after listening to you, what I feel is you're thinking about UHV in the context of and connecting this with psychology and other bodies of knowledge will kind of make it full, complete, no?
Yes, yes. So our approach is to make all these courses complete by giving a holistic perspective.
Yes, Bhaiya. I
Be it
understand.
psychology or sociology or economics or governance or journalism, whatever be the course, isn't it? How it can fulfill the human goal, how it can help the human being reach the state of realization.
Because Bhaiya, that framework that was developed, it was kind of remarkable. Nobody would have thought about it. And if people actually in the academic circles, I don't know how many people would have had the opportunity to see that also. It'll be a very, very different way it will go forward. इतना सुंदर था वो
Yeah.
framework. तो वैसे ही शायद आप कोशिश कर रहे हैं ना सब सब्जेक्ट्स में.
जी, मतलब we all are doing that.
हाँ मतलब वही we all are doing that.
हम कोशिश
Thank
कर
you.
रहे हैं.
जी
जी.
हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं. Thank you भैया.
Yeah, in fact, we are also developing the content of a particular kind of workshop or course where we can talk about SDGs with the holistic perspective. So, like talking about problems with a problem-centric approach is one thing, but having the holistic solution and then placing the problem, as we are mentioning here in point number 4, and then presenting the resolution towards it. So that is what is intended.
And this will also make UHV appropriately be placed in the knowledge in the जैसे traditional knowledge उसमें भी ये जो academic उसमें जाता है वो भी हो जाएगा ना भैया अच्छा
जी.
जेल हो जाएगा अच्छे से.
In fact, the more exploration we are doing about the efforts made by people in the tradition, we are able to have more and more glory and respect for them, the kind of effort that they have made. Okay. And gradually, like still under process of development, I'll say, but all those propositions are now getting properly placed. It is something kind of task which is doable, but of course, time taking.
With my very little effort that I do from my side, मैं देखती हूँ कि when I teach MOB, when I teach my subjects, मैं उसको एक बहुत ही complete तरीके से बता पाती हूँ with little effort that I do. तो अगर अच्छे से करो तो एक सब्जेक्ट को complete कर सकते हैं ना भैया.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं दीदी. हमें लिटरेचर को करना है. देखिए अभी लिटरेचर में वी आर sharing so much of story and poems with the students, which might not convey the right meaning. So you have to work on the literature also. Presently, we are talking about humanities. We have to work on the literature also. We have to work on the science also, the science subjects. Even if you look at even mathematics, so how to teach mathematics with a living model of human society. Okay. So all that we have to see.
Yes,
There's a lot of work to do. Ji.
yes.
Nice, Didi. Dilip Verma ji.
Namaste, Bhaiya.
Namaste.
I have one doubt regarding I mentioned the sanskar is deeply held acceptances. Acceptances based on right understanding plus acceptances without understanding. This acceptances without understanding, that can we consider that acceptance without understanding, is it preconditioning?
Yes.
Like preconditioning leads to wrong sanskars and with right understanding leads to good sanskars. Am I correct, Bhaiya?
Ji, correct. Yeah. Nice, Bhaiya. So the process of inquiry is threefold, I'll say. So one is self-exploration. Dr. Rajshekhar ji, your hand is getting raised and also lowered at times. You want to say something, Rajshekhar ji? Or it could be because your mobile is placed in the pocket, so it is getting somewhat touched. Rajshekar Ganesanji. So one thing is self-exploration. So we have proposal in front of us, and then we are trying to verify the proposal on the basis of natural acceptance and also to live in accordance with it in our behavior, work, and participation, so that it leads to right understanding. So in that process, we are discovering our natural self, our innate nature. The second is self-awareness. Self-awareness means I am trying to be aware of what I am. So if I have a proposal, it will guide me in the process self-awareness. Even if I do not have any proposal, but still I can go for self-awareness. I can try to be aware of all that is going on inside me. Okay, in my behavior, in my thought, in my desire, in my expectation. Okay, I can observe it, and I can observe every moment. Now, with the proposal in place and the self-exploration that we are doing and the awareness that we are having, we can now rightly evaluate oneself. So, in light of the proposal, and that is to say the natural acceptance, and being aware of oneself every moment, we can evaluate our desire, thought, and expectation so that my present state of self gets purified, having guidance from my innate nature. So, we are acquainted with this process. I will not elaborate upon it. We are, of course, acquainted with the diagram, I suppose. Okay, nothing to explain here. Now we can see that the basic human aspiration is continuity of happiness and prosperity. Happiness is to be in a state of harmony, and prosperity is the feeling of having more than required physical facility. So this is our basic aspiration. Now, once I am clear about the basic aspiration and the program to fulfill it, I start working to ensure happiness within by developing my own activities, by awakening to the activity of contemplation, understanding, and realization, so that happiness becomes my innate nature. So for that, I work for right understanding in the self, I work for right feeling in the self. But if I'm not aware of that, okay, if I am preconditioned, then I try to be happy through two sources. One is the sensation that I might get from physical facility through various sense organs, or to get some favorable feeling from the other. But this can at most become a temporary source of excitement. This can never be a source of continuity of happiness and remains as an external influence. So the purpose is to ensure this one and two that is written on the top, so that the happiness becomes our innate nature and we do not have to depend on any external influence for our happiness. Now, one key issue in this whole process is to understand the human being. Now, since we are talking about the psychology, the human psyche, we have to understand what psyche is, what human being is, what self is. So, human being is coexistence of self and body. We are all acquainted with this proposal. The needs are different, activities are different, the response is different. So, we can see that within the self, we have the activity of knowing and assuming. In the body, there is only recognizing and fulfilling. So here in the self, the recognizing and fulfilling is guided at least by assuming, and can also be guided by knowing. But in the body, there is no such activity. Now we have this clear-cut proposal in front of us, and we are trying to investigate it, understand it, and live by it. It may be the case that in many of the schools of various streams of study, this clarity may not be there. So this is something that we keep open for you to explore when you go through any kind of school of psychology, sociology, or any other humanities course. Try to observe whether the clarity of self and body is there or not. Okay, that will give you further insight into the various theory that is being proposed. Now we can see that if the right understanding is not ensured, that is knowing is not ensured, then the self is deluded. And it is either misled by preconditioning or sensation. So the thoughts are unguided, driven by senses, health, and profit. The expectation is also unguided, driven by sensation, and then our behavior, work, participation is not harmonious. But we do have the natural acceptance in the self. Now, when I start referring to the natural acceptance, I'm able to awaken to the higher level activities. And we are all in this process of evolution, evolving from the lowest level that can be termed as the lowest level of animal consciousness, gradually to the full human potential, the human consciousness in its completeness, by awakening to the activities of contemplation, understanding, and realization. And this is the transformation we are all looking for, isn't it? We are looking for this transformation within. And for that transformation only, on a very Sunday, we're spending 2 hours in this meeting. So that's very nice to see. Yeah. Any questions so far? So you can explore and verify this for yourself, Shruti ji. Shruti ji, any question? Fine. So once I'm able to awaken to contemplation, understanding, and realization, so that all my activities are awakened, then I am the pure self. I can see the whole existence as it is through realization. And then it gets authenticated in all my activities by completeness of the activities. So my understanding gets complete. I can see the whole harmony in nature in its completeness, which is a natural decision, which ensures a natural decision in me to live accordingly through determination. And this completes the contemplation of relationship in me, now which further guides my imagination, right? And then my thoughts are guided, my expectations are guided, my participation is guided with human being and the rest of nature, and I become a pillar of undivided society and universal human order that may lead to human tradition for the time to come. Now, as a co-explorer, each one of us has to pay attention to both the ends. One is the realization within, to see the whole existence as it is, and then participating in the universal human order. Now, the more you are able to work for realization within, you feel more committed to participate. If you are not feeling committed to participate in the universal order, it means our sharpness of observation may be somewhat falling short, isn't it? And if you start participating, then your sharpness of observation also goes up. And gradually we have to become a pure observer to see the reality as it is. Ji, Umesh Bhaiya, your hand is raised. Shruti ji, you have 2 hands raised. I think it is by mistake then.
Hello.
Ji,
Hello.
yeah, please.
Sir, it is not by mistake.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, please tell me.
Sir, I want to ask the question about tasting.
About
Tasting, aswadan.
Aswadan. Okay.
Can you elaborate more on this?
Yeah, it is an activity within me. So I may taste happiness, I may taste unhappiness. So
Okay.
presently we are trying to taste happiness through sensation
Yes.
or some favorable feeling from other. But what we naturally accept is that with realization, understanding, and contemplation, I am able to taste happiness in continuity within. And that is only possible when we have the goal-based testing in me. The goal-based testing means that I am able to awaken to the higher level activities based on which I have the understanding of human goal, and that ensures testing of happiness within all the time.
Sir, how can we select the expectation? Like you said, in dynamic activities, selecting. Chayan.
Not clear. Some voice is there from your background.
Yes, sir, I am actually in the admission office. That's why I have.
Okay. Maybe you can discuss sometime later.
Okay,
If you
sir.
have a mentor, then you can call your mentor also sometime to discuss in detail.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Now, having a clear view of the full human potential of the self and the program to go ahead, now we can look at various approaches in psychology. So primarily, if you see, there are 6 schools giving 6 different approaches. So one is structuralism. The approach that has been used here is to make structures of psychological experience. So it uses the method of introspection to identify the basic elements or structures of psychological experience. And this was the first school of psychology that came up as a science, and Wilhelm Wundt developed his lab in 1879 and started experimenting. So for the first time in the modern era, somebody was trying to deal with psychology the same way as scientists were dealing with physics, chemistry, or biology. And his student was Edward Titchener. So they both conducted experiments in their lab. They had multiple experiments that they conducted. And through that, they tried to draw some conclusion. And at that time, the scientists had given this Mendeleev periodic table. So Wundt has one imagination that as we can place the elements in the nature in a periodic table, similarly, we can place the psychological experience also in a table. Okay, through various sense organs, for example, through eyes, through nose, through ears, through touch, or through tongue, we get various sensation. Now, what could be those variety of sensation that we are getting? So through my eyes, what is the variety that I get? Through my nose, what is the variety that I get? Through tongue, what is the variety that I get? And then how it drives the thought in me, then how it drives the feeling in me. This was the approach that was taken by Wundt and followed by Titchener. The second school is functionalism. So here they were trying to look at the structure of psychological experience. Functionalism was basically driven by Darwin's theory of evolution. So how does a human being adapt? That was the basic approach taken here. So it attempted to understand why animals and humans have developed the particular psychological aspects that they currently possess. So William James was the propounder of this, but he was actually taking the guidance from Darwin theory of evolution. So how people adapt to an environment, how they try to survive, how they try to maintain their generation, and how it drives their psyche, what they think, what they feel, how they approach towards things. So this was the approach taken by function. So what is functional? What works? Basically, functionalism means what works, what is functional. So they try to look at how people assume something as functional, something as non-functional. So for example, if I have to ensure respect in the society, what comes as functional to me? Okay, if I have to maintain my generation, what comes functional to me? So that's why it was called as functionalism. The third school was psychodynamic. It was given by Sigmund Freud, and then his student was there, Carl Jung. The name is written as Jung, but it is read as Jung. Then there were other scientists who got involved with it, like Alfred Adler, Erik Erikson. So it focuses on the role of our unconscious thoughts, feelings, and memories, and our early childhood experiences in determining behavior. So Freud was basically a doctor, and he met his patients, and he listened to their stories, their unconscious thoughts. He tried to make out their meaning. He also talked about the dreams of the patients, and then he tried to draw conclusions. Okay, and he wrote a book also on memories. Dreams, the study of dreams. So he basically studied the patients that came to his clinic. He did not have a lab of his own. He had a clinic. He was a doctor, and patients met him. So mostly his study was confined to the abnormalities in human character or human trait. He studied that and developed a theory out of it. We'll talk about it in somewhat detail. The next school is behaviorism. So it was based on the premise that it is not possible to objectively study the mind, and therefore that psychologists should limit their attention to the study of behavior itself. So basically they said that in structuralism, they were trying to study what is going on within, but they called it subjective. Similarly, in functionalism, they call it subjective. Okay. And they said that, no, let us not look into what is going on inside the mind. So that is to say that don't look into B2, block B2. Look at the behavior, work, and participation. And from the behavior, draw the conclusion about the imagination. From the work, draw the conclusion about the imagination. So the major propounder was John B. Watson and B.F. Skinner. And here, one scientist was there who was called as Pavlov. He gave the theory of conditioning. So they drew their conclusions from Pavlov's theory of conditioning, which was called as classical conditioning. And Skinner also, gave theory about conditioning. Then the next school is cognitive psychology. So the study of mental process, including perception, thinking, memory, and judgments. So basically they talk about brain. They talk about the neuro aspects of the functioning of the body and how it can be understood. So the scientists associated are Hermann Ebbinghaus, Sir Frederick Bartlett, and Sean Piaget. Then the next school was social cultural. It can also be called as socio-cultural. So it is the basically study of how the social situations and the cultures in which people find themselves influence thinking and behavior. Now in the behaviorism, they were talking about mutual interactions. Okay. How one stimulus generates a response. Okay. Be it human being or the rest of nature. Here in socio-cultural, they are talking about society. They are talking about environment and how it influences a particular trait or the psychology of a human being. So primarily Hyder, Fisinger, Stanley, Shaster, they were the scientists associated with this. Now, you will see that there is a lot to discuss here. 6 schools are there. We'll also talk about one more perspective and also look at the modern perspective, that is the positive psychology. So you'll see that in this 1 hour, discussing all that in detail might seem very difficult. So I'll just give a glimpse of it. But we have to remain focused on these 8 points. So whenever you listen to, or when I'm talking about this and we are listening to all these schools of psychology, try to find out whether we are able to get some idea about the human psyche. So what a human being is, are we able to get some idea about it or not? You can also refer to ChatGPT. So this is some kind of homework for you to do. So try to see whether these schools of psychology have been able to understand the human being, the human mind. Then the determinant of conduct of human being. So what determines the behavior, the thought, the work of the human being? The full human potential, are we able to get some idea or not? Or it is only talking in a very fragmented way about one part of the human conduct and not able to talk about the full potential of the human being. Then what are the abnormalities or the problems they are targeting, that they are trying to study? Then what would be the process of developing the human psyche? So from the state, the current state, going to the coveted state, what would be the process to go ahead? Has the psychologist even talked about it? If yes, then what would be the way propounded by him? What is the way suggested by him? Then what is the expression or proof of a developed human psyche according to this particular school of psychology? So does it talk also about the full human potential or the completeness of human conduct, or it remains somewhat out of scope? You have to find out by yourself. And then you have to see how you find it applicable to your life, right? For example, we are saying something structuralism. Does it help you in some way or the other? Finding out how you built up a sanskar. So you'll see that all these schools of psychology may help us, not necessarily does help us, but may help us in finding out how we built a certain sanskar. I'll see that there are certain things which you might not be able to explore by yourself, or you might not be able to even share with us, with your co-explorer. Okay. But they are driving your action, they are driving your decisions. Some fear, some kind of feeling of opposition, some hatred, or some excitement, or some craving within you, you are having within. Even though you are attending a workshop, you are conducting sessions, but you are not getting exposed to those deep-seated assumptions in you. You are not getting exposed to the deep acceptances in you that is driving your life. Okay. At some point of time, maybe somebody humiliated you for something, for example, money or something, and you got a deep-seated desire to earn more and more, for example. Now, you might not be aware that I'm doing this because I got insulted some time back. Okay. So maybe these schools of psychology help you better get exposed to all those issues which are somewhat hidden, you know, at an unconscious level, and this may help you explore and know it further. Then describe the limitations. What limitations are you able to see? And then you can share your observation. So this is something that we have to do as an exercise at our end. Any questions so far? Fine. No question, then let us go ahead. So we'll now briefly talk about few points, 9 to 10 points about each of these schools. So I will not talk about all the words and the jargons that are used. So I'll suggest that please read some books or listen to some audio lectures on these various schools of psychology. Various YouTube videos are also there, but the content in the YouTube videos may not be so refined and appropriate. If you read some book, then it will be more helpful. And you can also attend some courses on Swayam to get more exposure to this. You can also read the NCERT books prescribed for psychology. So this is something that I leave to you as an exercise. And of course, the ChatGPT and AI platforms are there where you get the gist of all that has been said so far in a very refined manner. That is also a good way of getting the information. So structuralism is basically about introspection and awareness of subjective experience. So I was mentioning that they try to look at the structure, of the human mind. So something that we get as a sensation from outside, in what form it can be structured. So basically, Wundt is called the founder of modern psychology, and he developed a lab in 1879 when it is said that he developed it as an independent science in 1879, and Titchener was his student. So they focus on the structure of the mind. They analyze the basic elements or structures of conscious mental experiences, and they basically try to look at complex mental experiences in the form of combination of various elements, right? And the primary method that is used is introspection. For example, you are eating an apple. So you are seeing the apple, you are touching the apple, you are biting that apple and eating it, you are smelling that apple. Now, this is something that is coming as a sensation to you. Now, with every sensation, you are getting, of course, the sensation, but you are also getting some thought, which can be termed as images, some memory, some imagination, and you are also getting some feeling. Okay, so for example, if your father used to always ask you to eat an apple every day and you are eating an apple in the evening, you get reminded of your father and you are very fond of your father, or you are very fond of your father. So you are getting that feeling inside. You are eating the apple, but you are getting a feeling inside. Or maybe some friend of yours told you that you should be eating apple to keep your gut healthy. So you are feeling thankful to that friend that yes, I'm doing what he suggested and it is helping me improve my health. So the sensation that you're getting from the apple is also developing some feeling inside you and also drawing some memory inside you, some imagination inside you. So the goal was to identify what of mental life, what is going on inside. So it focused on what the mind is and not what it does. Okay, so from where did I derive this kind of trait in me? This is not the focus of structuralism. What is there in functionalism? It is not there in structuralism. It only seeks to map out the structure of consciousness like a periodic table of mental elements. So it is a reductionist in approach, breaking down the complex experiences into simple components, and a scientific one, but of course with the limitations. So they tried to give certain objects to people and then studied how they look at it, how they react to it, what is going on in their imagination. And that's how they were trying to break down the complex experience into simple elements. But it was subjective, so that also became a matter of criticism for them, that it was unreliable. So that led to criticism. But of course, this was a good beginning. Now I say that from this exercise, you can try to see when you get the sensation from the body, what you sense. Okay. For example, when you talk about food, we say that there are 6 kinds of taste that we get from food. So something that I eat, I am getting 6 kinds of food, 6 kinds of taste. So here also in India, in Ayurveda, you have tried to break down the taste, sensation of taste into 6 elements, right? Sweet, sour, hot, isn't it? So we have tried to break into 6 elements. Similarly, they have tried to break the sound into various elements, the sight into various elements, appealing, not appealing, okay, bright, dark. So that kind of table they have tried to form. So this was a good beginning and influenced further schools of psychology. But of course, it was considered as subjective and it ignored the unconscious process and practical implications. And it did not study about that in children or animals or the abnormal behavior. So this is Mr. Wundt and the teacher is his student. Then the next school is functionalism. which basically drew from Darwin's theory of evolution. So it focuses on the function of mental process concerned with the purpose and utility of consciousness, not just its structure. So it asks what is the mind for rather than what is the mind made of. Okay, it was looking at the purpose. So they were not focusing on the very structure of the imagination, but they are looking at a particular trait if formed, then where it came from. So there was a lot of emphasis upon adaptation and survival. So mental processes are seen as tools that help individuals adapt to the environment. Just like physical traits evolve for survival, so do the psychological functions. So for example, the child goes to a convent school, which is very modern. Okay. Now the child was speaking the regional language at home. Now when it goes to the school, then the child feels humiliated out of friend circle. So the child may try to do something so that the child is able to survive in that school. Okay, we shift to a colony where people are having a completely different kind of lifestyle. So we try to evolve ourselves so that we are able to fit into that particular society. So something that helps us survive. So as we have physical traits, so we can have psychological traits also. So if you try to look into yourself, you will find that you have also tried to adapt to various situations, atmosphere for your survival, for your security, okay, and to continue your generation. So this is something that we can relate to with all the limitation that it has. So the study of behavior and mental life is there, including motivation, emotion, learning, education, and mental testing. And study the real life situation rather than artificial lab setting. So that was a contrast here, that in the structuralism effort, they were trying to develop experiments in the lab and study the human psychology. Here they were not developing in lab. It was completely done in the open life, real life situations. And then they tried to see the traits of human being, how it has evolved. For example, one common example that is given is that if people feel jealous, then they are able to survive longer. They are more fit. So there is something called fitness. Okay. So they said that people become jealous because it helps them survive. So a trait gets developed for jealousy, competition, jealousy, all that. Where it has come from? Because when they feel jealous, they are able to see that they are able to survive better. Now here there is no evaluation whether jealousy is naturally acceptable to me or not. But if jealousy is helping me survive, why not go for it? Okay, if corruption is helping me survive, why not go for it? It could be something ethical, something unethical, whatever. Okay. So this is how they have tried to look at psychology. So it was, of course, developed from evolutionary theory of Darwin. And I'll say that they have tried to look into a practical approach, though not holistic, I will say, but practically how people try to survive. So Darwin basically studied the body. And it said that the human body has evolved from animals, and there are some vestigial organs in the human body which are no longer used, but since they were helping the animal to survive, so they are still continuing in our body as a vestige. So Darwin looked at how human body has evolved. This school was looking at how the psyche has evolved with the same constraints, the same approach. So the method was introspection, observation, as well as experimentation, and they were open to studying animals, children, mentally ill individuals also. So the legacy is that they helped develop the applied psychology. So they laid the groundwork for educational psychology, clinical psychology, industrial and organizational psychology. And it was somewhat a precursor to the other two schools, that is behaviorism and evolutionary psychology. Basically, evolutionary psychology and functionalism are sometimes considered as equivalent. Evolutionary psychology developed in 90s, but it is said that it is merely an offshoot of functionalism. So it is not treated as a separate school. It is considered in the same school. The criticism is that it lacked a precise methodology and was too broad and philosophical and somewhat less measurable. So here is Mr. Darwin on the right hand side, and on the left we have William James, who studied psychology with this perspective. The next school was psychodynamic. It was given by Sigmund Freud, and somewhat he became very popular because he gave certain theories which were widely discussed. So if you name anyone that If you ask anyone that, do you know any psychologist, they will name Freud. And he said something which also became a talk of the town. So he studied the unconscious mind. So he was a doctor basically. He did some clinical work with the patients. He focused on the unconscious mind. The central belief was that much of the human behavior is driven by unconscious desires, feelings, and conflicts. So the unconscious processes are more powerful than conscious thoughts in shaping the behavior. And he structured the psyche in 3 parts: id, ego, and superego. So the id is the primitive urge, the pleasure principle. Ego is the rational self, the reality principle, and the superego is the moral conscience. It could either be your natural acceptance or some moral that you carry within. This is right, this is wrong, this is doable, this is not doable. So we all have certain morals inside. If guided by natural acceptance, it becomes a part of our understanding. Otherwise, it remains as a moral, even though we have not understood it correctly, but we try to go by that. So, for example, let's say you are feeling hungry and there is food in front of you, but the food is not for you. So the id will say that go and have it. It is your urge to have the food because you are feeling hungry. The superego will say that no, this is not yours. Okay, you should not be eating this food. Then the ego will try to rationalize. So why not eat it? It is there in the open. If it is not meant for me, then why not somebody else is coming and eating it? Why should somebody leave it open for me? Okay. So whether you have to go or not, then ego is trying to put some logic, some reason behind it. So this is the way he explains the dilemmas in the human mind and how human mind deals with the contradictions and dilemmas. One major emphasis of Freud was the psychosexual stage of development. So he proposed that there are 5 stages: oral, anal, phallic, latency, and genital. So this is based on the age of the child, right from early childhood to an old age. So let's say when the child is taking milk from the mother's breast, so much of the urges of the child will come from the mouth. When the child is struggling to, for cleaning the bowel or, eat properly, so it is somewhat anal, then phallic, then latency, and then genital. So each stage involves conflict that must be resolved for healthy psychological development. So what he says that if there is a conflict at any stage, it will reflect at a later stage. If something has remained unfulfilled in the childhood, it will reflect in the adulthood. And there could be fixation at any stage. It can lead to various personality issues. It could be some personality disorder or something. He also said that there are various defense mechanisms. So psychological strategy used by the ego to manage conflict and anxiety. For example, repression, denial, projection, displacement, or sublimation. These are 5 defense mechanisms. So let's say I appeared in an examination and I could not succeed. So I repress it. Okay, let it be. I just try to somewhat remove my attention from there. Denial. So I say that, oh, this exam was not meant for. I have not failed. This examination is failed. It is not my failure. It is failure of something else. Projection. Even if I have failed, then I try to project that I have succeeded due to some reason. So these are various defense mechanisms that we try to take. So if you try to relate to various mechanisms, you might find it valid also. When I am not having the confidence within, when I am not having the right understanding within, I may try to go for such defense mechanisms. It could be for some success or failure, some issue of fitness. I'm not able to fit in a particular society, in a class, in a group. So we try to defend by various means, isn't it? Maybe I'm not able to speak the language that people are speaking, so I develop some defense mechanism. I do not look the way people expect of me. Then I develop some defense mechanism. Now, you may see that even though while we are exploring, we may be driven by these kinds of strategies within. Okay. I'm speaking and I'm fumbling, let's say. Then I develop some defense mechanism. I am doing some work and it is not up to the mark. Then I develop some defense mechanism. Some responsibility has been given to me and some mistake has taken place. Then I develop some defense mechanism. So these things we can be able to relate to oneself also. Yes. Any questions so far? I can keep on talking because this is a very vast topic. There's a lot to share here. But if any question is there, then please let me know. There is a lot of input here. Too many words to understand. too many concepts, but that may help you if you try to go exploring it. Ji, Venkateshwari, RG.
Yeah, if unconscious mind is more powerful uh, than the conscious mind, then how can we able to overcome it through consciousness?
By getting exposed to it, observe it. So they have developed various tools also. So for example, to get to see one's unconscious mind, they have developed various tools like free association, dream analysis, transference. Various mechanisms have been developed. So free association means say whatever you want to say. So something that is deeply seated within you will get exposed, will get expressed. Dream analysis, something that you observe in your dreams, some fear, some anxiety, some repression, some disorder, okay, some ill will, whatever is there within your dreams. Now, if you try to study your dreams, those deep-seated sanskars will become very apparent to you. Is that fine?
Okay.
Yeah. And these means have been used in various traditions also. So if you look at the meditation technique of Osho, Rajneesh, so he prescribes one technique called as catharsis. Catharsis means just cleaning yourself, the cleansing of the mind. So whatever is there inside you, just burst out and then express yourself. So that kind of possibility is there. Then transference. So whatever you assume about the human being, you assume the same thing about your therapist and share with the other, whatever you feel, be it opposition or relationship, be it attraction or repulsion, whatever, you share with the other and transfer that feeling and then see what happens. So he has a lot of emphasis on early childhood experiences. Believe that early relationships and experiences shape the adult personality. And symbolism is there. So the symptoms, dreams, and behaviors are seen as symptoms or symbols of a deeper psychological conflicts. So like the symptoms may be in your speech, in your physical appearance, in your body, whatever it may appear through. It could be there in your dreams, in your behavior. Understanding their hidden meanings is essential for healing. So let us not ignore all this. We'll see that many of us might be having these kind of repressed symptoms, right? So let us not suppress them further. Just try to explore them. So when we are saying that be a pure observer, so a kind of responsible task is to observe even these. Not only observe that when I express this particular feeling with the other, what the other said, and I was having the feeling of opposition at that person, with that person. No. From where you are carrying this feeling of opposition within? Why do you feel angry with someone? Okay. Why do you feel attracted towards someone? Why do you feel repelled from someone? Why do you feel attracted towards a particular physical facility and repelled from another physical facility? What is happening inside? Try to look into all that. Try to study your dreams, whatever is going on in your dreams. Maybe you are having the same kind of dream from childhood. It has been 40 years, 50 years, and you are not able to overcome it. So what has gone inside? You have to unravel it. So there are multiple criticisms also that it is not empirically testable. And he basically worked on the patients. So they mostly talk about the abnormalities in behavior, and there's overemphasis on sexual drives. So the legacy is that they led to further more development in psychology, and the modern psychodynamic therapy came up. Yeah, any other question? So here's Mr. Freud. This is a common picture that is displayed. Then his student was Jung, Carl Gustav Jung. He was a Swiss psychiatrist and also a psychoanalyst. He developed analytical psychology. So according to him, people differ in certain basic ways, even though the instincts that drive us are the same. So he talks about 6 things. 2 general attitudes, that is introversion and extraversion, and 4 functions: thinking, feeling, sensing, and intuiting. So introvert means inner directed, not sharing outside. Outer directed is extrovert, sharing everything outside. Thinking function, that is being very logical in approach. Feeling function, being creative and warm and inside. Sensing having orientation towards sensory things, toward the body and senses. Intuitive, going by intuition most of the time, by hunches. So based on that, one test has been developed, MBTI test, and you can also go for this MBTI test. It is there online also available, and there are 16 personalities which have been made out. So if you go by that test, it may help you further recognize your current state of self, how you are today. Okay, that you can be able to make out. But if you do it repeatedly, maybe your responses become conditioned. So in place of that, if you just do it once and try to observe what you get, and you can study about it, that will help you further. On the net, you will also get documents about MBTI test, and they explain further all the 16 personalities, what you are, how you are. So that will also give you a feel of about your sanskars, the way you are there. Yeah, Raj Shekharji, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, with all these inputs, I am unable to find what should be the mindset regarding self-awareness, etc. When
What should be the?
what would be the self-awareness among some kind of the hardcore terrorists like cross-border terrorism? So how we have to we can overpower them to come into mainstream?
The cross-border terrorists.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, they are also human beings.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they have been
Yeah.
wrongly conditioned.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so we have to help them overcome their conditioning.
But if you go there and tell them, preach them these principles, they will not accept. No, sir. They will not accept. So, what are the method by which they realize themselves?
So we can start with people in the society. See, everybody
Okay.
may turn into a terrorist.
Yes,
isn't
yes,
it?
sir.
Once the feeling of opposition goes beyond a limit, we also start thinking in terms of spreading terror. So we have to talk about human being. Once we are
Yes.
clear about the human being, we can talk about all those abnormalities in human conduct.
Okay. So, we need to bring them the lower state to at least human state.
Yeah, so there could be various
Yes.
means. Why not ensure the right education?
Yes, yes.
So that since childhood, they are having the right understanding and not having the wrong
Yes.
conditioning.
Correct, sir. But it
Nice.
will take time. It will take time, sir. It will take centuries also to change them.
See, everything will take time.
Yes,
And
yes.
it's only that to what extent, with what intensity we are able to take the proposal forward. That's why we are having this international conference, isn't it?
Okay.
Take the
Yeah.
proposal
Yes.
across the world.
Yes, sir. Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, so much.
Nice,
Thank you, sir.
Bhaiya.
Yeah.
Then the next school is behaviorism, School of Psychology. It was given by Watson, Skinner, and Paulo. So Watson established behaviorism as a formal school. Skinner advanced it with operant conditioning, and Paulo is known for classical conditioning. So Paulo gave his theory independently, but it was able to contribute to the particular school of psychology here. It focuses on observable behavior, emphasizes only measurable, observable behavior, not thoughts or feelings of the unconscious. So they said that psychology should be as objective and scientific as physics or chemistry. So they talk about two kinds of conditioning, classical conditioning and operant conditioning. Now, classical conditioning was given by Paulo and operant by Skinner. So Paulo experimented on dogs and found that dogs salivated to a pill after it was repeatedly paired with food. And Skinner experimented on rat and said that a rat presses a lever and receives food. So this becomes one kind of reinforcement. So there was a stimulus response model given. If this stimulus comes, this would be the response. If the bell rings, the dog starts salivating. Okay. If the lever is pressed, the rat starts getting food. So there is some kind of stimulus response. And this is something that we can see within also. Right? So let's say a tea is coming to your office. Even though the tea is not meant for you, but you will see that you start salivating. Does it happen? So we are hopeful that yes, the tea may come to me also. So they did some experiments on animals, and that may somewhat apply to human beings also. But at a deeper level, we have to see how a particular stimulus generates a response. Then reinforcement and punishments are two concepts here. So reinforcement increases the behavior. So it could be positive or negative. Similarly, punishment decreases behavior. It can again be positive or negative. So they say that people are born as blank slate, and all the behavior is driven from the environment. They are not inherited. So they did not talk at all about the introspection or the unconscious mind. They only focused on the environment and the external control. So the application is like how to organize a society. Okay. So in fact, this Paolo theory of conditioning was used by the industrialists to regulate the workers in the factories, how people get conditioned, in what form they should be given incentives. All those were driven by this kind of theory. So it has contributed to education, therapy, parenting. Then various criticisms also there, that they ignore the mental process, they viewed human behavior as too mechanistic. So he's Mr. Skinner. Then the cognitive approach was there, which basically talked about the brain, the neural activities. So what is happening on the mental level? So they treated mind as an active processor, and information processing approach was adopted. And they use completely scientific and experimental methods. So for example, studying the reaction time, the imaging of the brain through MRI, the computer simulations was done. So they try to see how the sensory input drove the attention, then how is driving the perception, then memory, then response. So something that is happening in a computer. So their topic of study were attention, perception, memory, which could be short-term, long-term, working memory, language, problem-solving skills, decision-making skills. So they developed also various techniques, and they have a wide application in cognitive psychology, which is taught at various levels in higher studies, cognitive psychology. So the learning strategies, the cognitive behavioral therapy, these are various contributions. The criticism is that it was too mechanistic, computer-like, but the legacy has remained that they have contributed to cognitive neuroscience, the social cognition, and of course the cognitive psychology is there. Then the last school is the social cultural. So basically it was founded by various scientists. They focus on social and cultural influences. So they say that ultimately the human behavior, human conduct is driven by the society and the norms. Okay. So the learning occurs through interaction with more knowledgeable people like parents, teachers, peers. And basically they argued that cognitive development first occurs socially and then is internalized by the individual. So for example, if everybody is telling a lie, we also learn how to tell lies. If everybody is tricking, we learn how to trick. Things like that. If everybody is saying something which is wrong, and I'm aware also that this is wrong, I tend to agree to other people. So this is a socio-cultural influence, how we make our goals in life, how we dress ourselves, how we think, how we have different perceptions, how it is driven by the society around me. That is the conditioning that I get. So in the conditioning theory, they were talking about the stimulus and response. Here they are talking about the society at large. So they have wide application in the cross-cultural psychology, education, social justice, mental health. There's various criticism also because they underplayed the individual differences and the biological factors, only talked about society. But of course, they have been able to develop certain therapies. Now, these are the 6 schools that we talked about, and these are the 6 perspectives. So basically, if you look at it, Wundt and Titchener, when they give the structuralism, it was basically the physiological or the biological perspective. Freud gave the psychodynamic perspective. Paulo and Skinner gave the behavioristic perspective, where they talk about stimulus and response. Neisser gave the cognitive, that is information processing perspective. And when it is evolutionary, it is talking about adaptation. So it is a next kind of perspective. Another perspective that has evolved is humanistic perspective that was given by Rogers and Maslow. It basically came after 1950s. So they said that basically humanistic psychology is a psychological perspective that emphasizes the whole person, focusing on individual potential free will. So they said there is a free will. It's not only that whatever human being is doing is only out of conditioning. No, human being has a free will. So in some sense, they try to look at the natural acceptance that this free will is always existing. Whatever be the situation around me, society around me, whatever be the stimuli around me, I still have my free will. I can decide by myself. It's not only under influence of others. So they said that humans do have free will. They are inherently good. And they try to focus on the present and the self-awareness and the personal growth and self-actualization. So Maslow gave this hierarchy, and they said that people first try to look at the physiological needs, then the safety needs, then the belongingness, then the self-esteem, and finally they work for self-actualization. But again, we have to keep it open for exploration and try to see. So for example, it's not that once only physiological needs are met, then only people will work for right understanding. No. If a child has questions and is able to get the right answers, the child will be more focused towards right understanding rather than uh, the physiological needs. So this may have certain more things to discuss. We can discuss somewhat later. New development in the psychology is positive psychology. So the founder is Martin Seligman, and he was the president of American Association of Psychologists. So he said that so far we have been only talking about the abnormalities. Let us talk about a happy life. Let us talk about the well-being of the person or fulfilling life. So he gave a well-being theory. So he gave 5 elements, which are called as PERMA model. Positive emotion like feeling joy, gratitude, pleasure, engagement, some deep involvement in activities, which gives a flow in my thoughts, my feelings. Relationships, which I want to make strong, meaningful social connections. Then a meaning to be given, so a belongingness, like serving something bigger than oneself, right? And accomplishment, pursuing goals, some mastery, some achievement. So here we can see that there is a shift. Earlier, the modern psychology, the schools, the traditional schools were focusing mostly on abnormalities or traits or conditionings. Now people have started talking in the 21st century about happiness, okay, fulfillment. So he has developed various character strengths, and of course the approach that he has adopted is very scientific according to him. And it has wide application in education, workplaces, therapy, and health. And I think what we are trying to do through the holistic perspective is going to add to it. Okay. So we keep all these schools and perspectives open to you as a proposal. Observe them. So the task that is to be done is go through all these various schools and perspectives of psychology. So we talked about all these 8, you know, issue 8, I'll say, schools or perspectives. Try to look at them closely and try to find out these 8 responses to the 8 questions here. So that is the homework that I would like to give here in this session. So this was all from my side. I am open to questions given the time available. Ji.
Thank you so much, Bhaiya, for a detailed outlay of human psychology based on 8 theories. If there are any questions from our co-explorers, you may raise your hand. Ji, we have Prashant Bhaiya.
जी कुमार जी, नमस्ते कुमार भैया।
Namaste.
जी I found some difference between this discussion in Hindi and English also. Some psychological terms were rightly explained here. Instead of Hindi, there was some meaning I could not guess. So is it like that, or was it same for me?
From my side, it was similar, but if there is something dissimilar, we can talk it further.
No, dissimilar. Okay. No. As far as our UHU words are concerned, it was really similar, but psychology, some scientists, something was I found different.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much. It was very nice. And
yes.
so nice of you. 2 hours there and 2 hours in English. Very nice. Thank you. Namaste sabhi ko. Dhanyawad. Thank you. I will do assignment. Thank you.
Ji. Amresh ji.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Kumarji. This was a very insightful and wonderful session. I've done my master's in psychology. I'm able to relate very well to the topic. One thing is that I've even written my thesis as master's as part of this positive psychology only. It's quite relevant to what we are talking about here, connecting to human values. So one thing I just wanted to also bring it to your notice that there is also another research by Dr. David Hawkins, which he has done research about human consciousness, and he has also defined the scale from 0 to 1000, that how people live in a particular what do you call scale, and how do they transition. So I would like to connect with you later sometime to discuss on that, how human values can be connected to the human consciousness research which has been already done, so that there could be some possibility that it can further help to explore.
Certainly, Bhaiya, certainly. Please do send me the material over
Sure.
WhatsApp or through mail. I'll go through that.
Sure, sure. I'll do that. And also, I would like to discuss with you that how do we can take that the research of David Hawkins further with whatever efforts we're doing here.
Sure, sure.
Thank you.
Ji, Sunil Bhaiya.
Ji Bhaiya, namaste. So thank you for this enriching presentation, Kumar Bhaiya. So the various schools of thoughts have been proposed by you, rather you have depicted that. Now, my question is regarding the connectivity to the human values. So we have certain proposals in the universe of human values. So how do we connect with, I can see that all these schools of thoughts are not able to get connected to the human values. So do we propose a new way of psychology or can we connect the proposals with, yeah, correct, yeah, proposals with some of the schools of thoughts?
Yes, Bhaiya. In fact, when we were conducting the workshop, so we had two screens. On one screen, this PPT was going on, and on the other screen, we had kept the diagram of self open. So with every school of psychology, we're trying to relate how what is being said here relates to what we have been discussing in UHV. So for example, structuralism. So we are getting 5 kinds of sensation from 5 sense organs. Okay, now how we can put them into various elements. So the testing activity here is basically being addressed by structuralism. And then they are talking about imaging, they are talking about the thought part. And then when they are talking about the feeling, they are talking about this part at the level of desire. Similarly, in functionalism, we can see how the conditioning is taking place. Okay. So for example, for survival, how I am getting conditioned and how I am adapting to various sensations, right? Functionalism did not talk about the natural acceptance. It only talked about the various ways in which we try to condition ourselves to survive and to procreate, to feel secure. Similarly, when you talk about the socio-cultural, then how something that comes from the society is conditioning me. So they are not laying emphasis on sensation, but they're laying emphasis here on preconditioning, the feeling that I'm getting from the other, how to make it favorable. So if everybody is appreciating one kind of garment, I start using that kind of garment. If everybody is appreciating one kind of language, I start appreciating or speaking that kind of language. So how I'm getting conditioned. So we are keeping that diagram open. In fact, there was some limitation of time here. And since this was only a keynote lecture, not a workshop, so we could not do that kind of exercise. But we can, of course, do that in the workshop, and we did it also at SRM. So keeping this diagram open, you can always relate all these schools of psychology to what we have been discussing in UHV so far. Ji.
Ji Bhaiya, that's very nice. Are there some contradictions among the schools of thoughts?
Contradictions?
Yeah.
Yes,
there?
basically, they have, like, each school has tried to prove oneself superior over others. That is what we can find going by them. So what we are saying that in place of looking at the superiority or inferiority of one kind of school over other, we have to see how they have approached. So there are 6 approaches. Like somebody is saying that don't look at the imagination, only look at the behavior, work and participation. Okay, the socio-cultural approach. So we are saying that we can study the imagination also, we can study the behavior, work and participation also. And now with this ability to observe as a pure observer, we can also observe the higher level activities, which was never addressed in any school of psychology. So there could be contradictions. They have tried to look at reality in one way or the other and then put one approach above another. This is the prime contradiction, right? For example, if you look at the Freud approach, he only talks about the unconscious mind. He does not talk about the influence of the other from the society or the nature. He does not talk about evolution. It is only talking about the unconscious mind. And mostly he was dealing with patients. So the difference of approach is there. In place of saying that there are contradictions, the difference of approach is there, and they have tried to put one approach superior to another one. This is something that we can see.
Ji Bhaiya, thank you.
Nice, Bhaiya. Ji, Geeta ji.
Bhaiya, because of time limitation, let me quickly put my question, Bhaiya. I could see, Bhaiya, in various schools of psychology, They study the patient, they come to know about what is there in the subconscious mind, what has happened in his past child, and they justify their behavior. Is it not, by whatever crime, uh, whatever unethical conduct he has done, by all observations, they try to justify only because of this he did like that. Is it so, Bhaiya?
Yeah, so in place of justifying, see, we can see that the criminal also is a human being. He also has the right intention, and now we can also see how he or she has got conditioned. So maybe if the parents did not have harmonious relation, they were always, fighting with each other. The child develops one kind of psychology. The parents were having harmonious relationship, the child develop another kind of psychology. So it has been found mostly that children who turn into criminals did not have a very happy childhood, generally. Okay. Or at some point of time in their life, they were ditched or they were not treated properly by the society or parents or teachers or somewhere. So from there, they got this kind of opposition and a very deep conditioning. For example, one thing that I also keep on sharing in the workshops. Student came to our Sansthan at Kanpur and said that he wants to be richer than his maternal uncle. Why? Because he was humiliated by his maternal uncle once when his mother asked him to go for some financial help when the father had died. And this maternal uncle humiliated him very badly. And from there, he developed this kind of position. And it is learned that even today, this boy is suffering from the psychological disorder. He is on medication. He is there in Kanpur only. He is on basically a remote village outside Kanpur. He is on medication. That's single incident of humiliation by his maternal uncle. Now he made it so complex within that he's not able to recover from there. He starts shouting at night, and now his parents are deeply troubled by his behavior. If they throw him out of the house, they are in trouble. If they keep him inside the house, they are again in trouble. So we can now see from where this person got this kind of abnormality in his behavior. So if he has to be treated properly, okay, we have to see the root from where he or she has got this conditioning. In fact, in Ayurveda also, we'll see that the practitioners try to dig out the root cause of a disease, which can be psychosomatic, okay, by talking to you. So if somebody is getting headache time and again, then there may be some anxiety within, and anxiety could be due to some incident that happened in the past. And that is causing migraine. Yeah, so this is quite useful the more you explore. And only thing is that we have to take it as a proposal, verify within, and try to draw out what is valuable from here.
Thank you, Bhaiya.
Nice. Supraja Didi, namaste.
Okay. Namaste, Bhaiya. It's not for the question. I'm just making a request to Geeta ji to continue with the update.
Yes.
Because from SIP briefing meeting has started for me sharply 5. All the faculties has joined, so I want to go explain them about how to take SIP tomorrow. So that's why I'm requesting Geeta ka to take over for the updates.
Ji Supraja Didi. Noted.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bhaiya.
Ji Didi, please
Kumar
continue.
Bhaiya, can we conclude?
Yeah, so I have concluded myself. So I'm done.
Ganesh
When I
Bhaiya.
was showing that table,
Okay.
yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Ji.
Ganesh Bhaiya has raised hand.
Didi, namaste. Kumar Bhaiya, namaste.
Namaste.
We do understand something that there is a relationship between that human psychology and our UHV that platform. So there is a lot of similarity that we came to know. It is well explained. We got something. My request is another that question. Please you open. I could not see it properly. Question. That last question you asked us to the search from ChatGPT, etc. Answer to understand better.
Okay. So these 8 points, I'm sharing again. These are the 8 points which you have to explore. This is what we are looking for, Bhaiya. I think
Yes,
it is time now. Formally, we'll have to close and then we
yes,
can
yes,
discuss
correct,
further.
correct. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kumar Bhaiya, for wonderful insights. It has opened a new path of exploration within each and every one of us. Thank you so much once again, Bhaiya. Now, let us move to the next segment. So, moving forward.
Thank you, Didi. Namaste to all.
Ji. So these are the FDPs that was conducted in the past. Because of timings, we are just moving forward. Now let us see what are the FDPs that are planned in your future. Starting from August 6th to August 8th, there is an introductory FDP in Hindi at Jagran Institute of Management at Kanpur Nagar, UP. Similarly, on those same dates, August 6th to 8th, an introductory FDP in Hindi at Institute of Engineering and Technology, Lucknow. Then from 7th August to 14th August, UHV-II 8-day bilingual workshop in Hindi English is going to be conducted at CSMSS Chahu College of Engineering at Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, Maharashtra, followed by a 3-day introductory FDP from 12th August to 14th August at Sri Ram Swaroop Memorial College of Engineering and Management at Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. Then from 16th August to 18th August, again an introductory 3-day workshop in Hindi at Lalit Narayan Mishra College of Business Management at Muzaffarnagar, Bihar. From 21st August to 23rd August, again an introductory 3-day workshop in Hindi at Bhupal Nobles University, Udaipur, Rajasthan. From 21st August to 23rd August, introductory 3-day FDP in English at JSSS Polytechnic, Mysuru, Karnataka. Again, from 21st August to 24th August, UHV-VI, Human Psychology Part 2 for 4 days is going to be conducted in English at SRM Institute of Science and Technology at Chengalpet, Tamil Nadu. So, dear co-explorers, you can kindly make a note of all these FDPs and you can register yourself and you can pass on to other co-explorers and neighbors. So with this, once again, we would like to extend our gratitude for the technical support and overall backup provided by Parikshit ji and Sunil ji. So this is the concluding remarks from our end. Once again, we thank one and all for your active participation and we thank Kumar Bhaiya for this keynote session, opening a new dimension on human psychology. The next combined weekly meeting is on 10th August 2025 Sunday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Meeting you again all on next weekly meeting. Namaste, namaste to all.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste, namaste, namaste to all.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you.